I'm with Yaniv from the City of David here in Jerusalem. Now, first of all, where is the City of David located?
The City of David is located outside of the old city. And it's the first question that people ask: how come the ancient city of Jerusalem is outside the walls? And it's very simple. The walls today of the old city are from the 16th century. Brand new walls in Jerusalem. The City of David is from 3,800 years ago. And it has nothing to do with the old city of today. And we're just outside the Dung Gate.
And how big is the site here?
The site is a few acres. It's only part of what used to be the City of David. Today we also have a neighborhood in the site itself, and that's why it's not all dug. Only a small percentage of the site was excavated until today.
So if you were able to go under some of the houses that have been built here, you'd probably be able to find more and more of the city, would you?
Up until today we found amazing findings, and we only dug something like 8% of the site. So who knows what's still waiting for us.
Now, you've been excavating here. How long has that been going on?
The first excavations started here at the beginning of the 19th century, at the end of the 19th century, by Captain Charles Warren, and he was digging here. The digs that are taken today by the Israeli government started in the early 80s.
And what sort of things have you found here?
We found amazing water, underground water system. We found ancient roads from 2,000 years ago. We found seals of high officials from the days of the first temple, that the names that we found, all of them appear in the book of Jeremiah. The more we dig, the more we find stuff that relate to stories of the Bible.
So this really is digging up the Bible and proving that the Bible was really true, isn't it?
It is. We always laugh about it. The main source of information that archaeologists use is the Bible itself, because you find stuff and you don't understand what you found. And then when you open the Bible, sometimes you actually see that what you found fits with the story that you read.
Now, do you believe King David's palace was actually on this site somewhere?
If this was the City of David, King David's palace was on site. Where it is exactly, we are not sure. There are some archaeologists that claim that they found what we call today the big stone structure, that used to be King David's palace. To say for sure that was the palace, we cannot say, but we still have a lot to dig. When we'll finish to dig all of the site, we'll be able to answer that question.
Now, you have a lot of tourists coming here. There's things like Hezekiah Tunnel, Warren Shaft, and Shiloh Pool. Tell us a little bit about those.
Warren Shaft is because Charles Warren found 150 years ago an underground tunnel that connected the city to the source of water. The main problem in Israel is always the water, and the Canaanites, the Jebusites that lived here, built a huge fortification that connected the city to the water, and that's something amazing. At 1996 we started a dig on the site that we just recently finished. If you'd open any history books from those days, they will say in the Bronze Age Jerusalem was a small, insignificant city away from the main road, and we found here the biggest fortress from those days in the Middle East. And that changes all the picture that we have about Jerusalem from the days of David, because we found a huge fort that protected the source of water, that all of it was built by the Jebusites.
Now, Hezekiah's Tunnel is down there as well. That's a huge feat of engineering, isn't it?
It's up until today we do not know how they were able to do it. Two groups of workers start to dig a tunnel. They have a chisel and a stone hammer, and they start to dig toward each other. It's 500 meters long, and both groups are able to meet each other. Now, when they built the train between France and England, two groups started and then nearly missed each other, and they had the most sophisticated GPS systems. Those guys had only a stone chisel and a stone hammer, and they were able to meet each other and move the water from outside the city into the city.
Are people able to walk through Hezekiah's Tunnel today?
This is one of the most amazing experience for people to do. When you come to Jerusalem, come and walk through the Hezekiah Tunnels, because you actually walk through a tunnel that was dug 2,800 years ago, and the water is still flowing through that tunnel, the same water that was flowing for years and years.
Can you find the story of the tunnel in the Bible, and why was it built?
we can find a story of that King Hezekiah blocks all the sources of water that go from the city outside, because the Assyrian army, led by Sancheriv, are coming to conquer Jerusalem. And in the Bible it says, why should I give them water? And then he blocks the tunnel, and we actually found an inscription saying of the workers, not of the king, that we finished the tunnel, and it describes all the project.
And we have Shiloh Pool down there as well.
We have the Siloam pool, that is one of the most important places, because in the days of the first temple, that's where the Hezekiah Tunnel led the water, and that's how the city was saved. But in the second temple period, that place is one of the most important places in Jerusalem, because whenever pilgrims arrive to Jerusalem, the first location is the Siloam pool to refresh themselves, to drink some water, and from there they go up to the temple. But most important is the miracle that happens at that exact location, because today when you walk around Jerusalem, you can go all around different places and hear about miracles that happened. But when Jesus arrives to Jerusalem, only 2 miracles happen in Jerusalem, and that is the Bethesda pools, curing the lame person, at the Siloam pool curing the blind person. And that's something amazing, because when you open the Bible and you see when David comes to Jerusalem, the Jebusite kings told David, even if I put the blind and the lame on the walls, you won't be able to capture the city. 1,000 years later, Jesus arrives to Jerusalem from the house of David, and he knows that his great-great-grandfather was cursed with the blind and lame. And that's why those are the 2 miracles that he does in Jerusalem. And when you stand in the Siloam pool, you actually stand on the original stones from 2,000 years ago.
Oh, amazing. And what other things can people see here?
When you come to the City of David, you have a 3D movie that can give you an introduction to the site. You see some of the archaeology, you see the seals that were found here, you see structures from the days of the first temple. You can see all the amazing water system that was built 3,800 years ago. Maybe find a place that Abraham met Melchizedek 3,800 years ago, as it's described in the book of Genesis. And then you go down into the Hezekiah Tunnel. You walk through the water and you exit at the Siloam pool, and from there you can go on the road, the original road of Jerusalem from 2,000 years ago, that takes you up to the Temple Mount.
Wow, amazing. Now you've also found a Canaanite fortress here. Tell us a little bit about that.
The Canaanite Fortress was built to protect the source of water. In Israel, the liquid gold is not oil, it's actually water. And they built here a massive fort with one reason: to protect the spring and to protect the pool of water. When we started to look for it, no one expected that we'll find a massive fortress, but we recently uncovered all of it, and it's something huge that you can understand why the Jebusite kings was mocking David, because when he was standing at that fortress, he really believed that no one can capture his city.
This must be really, really exciting for the archaeologists as they're digging here. They don't know what they're going to find, do they?
They don't know. That is the main thing about archaeology. You can start to dig, you maybe have an idea what is underneath, but you never know. In different digs that we have here, we have a place that the first layer is the Omai layer from the 7th century, and the bottom layer is the 18th century BC. And you have one dig that has all of those layers, and you never know what you're going to find in each layer.
And what's it like for you working here as you work where King David walked?
It's just amazing, because I'm working here for 7 years, and the stories are always changing, because we're digging and finding new stuff. Sometimes you can see the guides explaining what happened, and then the archaeologists find a new wall, and all the explanation changes, because the story changes with us. And it's an ongoing project that you see the change in front of your eyes. As you told me when you came here, your last visit was 1995. You cannot recognize the site today because it's growing. Most of the digs that we stand in above were covered up until 7 years ago.
Does this open up the Bible and make the Bible alive when you come to visit here?
From that point of view, it's just amazing. You walk with the Bible. You can read the Bible at home. You can try to imagine the stories, but it's not the same. When you stand in the City of David and read the Bible, you can start to understand the actual meaning of it, because you can see where it was written from, what they saw when they were standing here, and some of the stories that maybe don't make sense at home start to make sense when you stand on site itself.
And there's a lot of cultural things that you can't always understand as well, but when you come here you can begin to understand that culture, can't you?
Yeah, that's when you come from Europe to the Middle East, you have a culture shock, because everything here is different.
And what's your website for people who'd like to know more?
If you want to know more about the City of David, come to www.cityofdavid.org.il, or just Google City of David and you'll find our site much easier.
Okay, Yaniv, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, and have a good day and enjoy your visit in Israel.